Greetings and welcome. My name is Paula. Today, as you can tell by the title of this video, I want to talk to you about, I get asked a lot about books that I could recommend, for people who want to do research about the paranormal, research about, tapping into their intuition, their psychic ability, research on how to protect themselves, their family, their home from negative spirits and energies, things of that nature, or to really become a better paranormal investigator. So what I've done is I have put together several of my favorite go-to books. And these are what I call kind of my must-haves in my collection. And these books are ones that I personally refer to all the time. And I'm going to start like from ground zero and then go into some very advanced and stuff that you should not get into as a beginner. You need to have some pretty advanced protective skills and advanced intuitive skills before you even think about doing some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, okay? So the very first book that I want to recommend, and this is like a must for anybody, okay, here I need to, is Journey of Souls. And this is by Michael Newton. And the reason that I love this book is this lays the foundation. Especially as a paranormal investigator, anyone who is curious about the afterlife, anyone who wants to develop their intuitive side, try to see if they have any kind of ability as a psychic or as a medium. This book, his books are absolutely phenomenal because he's a clinical psychologist, and he documents cases of his patients and their experiences, like through the afterlife, either from, say, a near-death experience or doing past life regression in a hypnosis session. He also has 2 follow-up books that are also excellent, and the second one is Destiny of Souls, and then the newest one is Memories of the Afterlife, and this is Life Between Lives. What this does is help, even as a paranormal investigator, how souls go back to the pool of souls, how you're sent back to learn lessons, how souls advance through different stages in the afterlife. It talks about spirit guides, it talks about your masters, it talks about everything in the afterlife. It talks about, you've heard me talk about displaced souls and why some souls can come back, some souls can't, why some souls get stuck here, things like that. And those are all explained in these books, and they're documented through clinical studies. And I think that the case studies are so compelling, and the themes are very much, repeating throughout the books. And they are written in just such an excellent manner. I thoroughly enjoyed all 3 of these books. I have bought, I have lost count how many copies of Journey of Souls that I have personally bought. And then, I have given my copy away to someone else and then bought another copy for myself in addition to the, Kindle version that I have from Amazon. I am one of those that I'm a geezer and I love my hard copy books, even though I do have, an electronic version. So those three are the very first three that I recommend for anyone. Either, whether you're going to be a ghost hunter, paranormal investigator, you're interested in what happens, when you leave this vessel, what happens to your soul in the afterlife. Or if you want to try and understand, if you're sensitive, if you're an empath, and you want to try and understand what's going on with spirits that come back. If you're sensitive, you want to understand why spirits want to talk to you, okay? Now, especially, and I apologize for having to turn away here, if you are going down the road of paranormal investigations, the next book is by Michelle Belanger, and it is The Ghost Hunter's Survival Guide. Now, if you ever watched Paranormal State, Michelle Belanger was one of the psychics that was on the show. And she has several other books. I've got another one of her books here that is also another reference book that I use all the time. She has written, these are so well researched. Some of her books go into detail where she has researched arcane texts and referenced them, and she breaks them down into lay terms so that you can understand what's going on. And I love that. And I also like that, especially in the Ghost Hunter Survival Guide, she puts real life tips. She puts in there exactly what you need to do. Another book that is, I think, essential to every ghost hunter is this one right here. And it's Hauntings, Possessions, and Exorcisms by Adam Blai, B-L-A-I. And in addition, Michelle Belanger's book breaks down the different stages and the different types of hauntings. But Adam Blai's book breaks it down a little bit more, and then also breaks down actual like sacraments and exorcism, minor rites of exorcism and stuff. Now, what makes these two books so important is you have got to understand the different types of hauntings. You also need to understand how to protect yourself. You need to understand how to protect your team. You need to also understand how to help. I never, ever, ever, you never want to leave a homeowner or a business owner, if you are doing investigations for someone, you never want to leave them worse off than when you came, okay? If you're just going to be going to these places where you pay to go through, like, it's a paranormal fun house or whatever you want to call it, where you pay to go and do your investigations, then that's fine. You're not responsible for what's going on. You just need to know how to protect yourself in those cases. But my team doesn't do those things. We actually go into people's businesses, we go into people's homes, and we investigate their homes. And then it's our jobs to tell them what's there in our best opinion and how to protect themselves, how to, if it's anything that's dangerous, is it something that they need to get rid of? Can we help them get rid of it? or do we have contacts of people that we can help get rid of it? I never want to leave a homeowner or a business owner hanging with nothing there. So those two books, the one by Michelle Belanger, The Ghost Hunter Survival Guide, and then Adam Blaze, Hauntings, Possessions, and Exorcisms, really give you a good educational foundation to go from, so that you have a really good understanding of the different types of paranormal activity that can go on, and more importantly, how to protect yourself. Now, I also have another book that I refer to quite often for investigations, and it's depending on what happens. And this is Archangels 101 by Doreen Virtue. And, I would really fail as a beauty guru on here because I can't keep things in the camera frame. Anyhow, this book breaks down the 9 archangels and what their particular, and it's a lousy word for me to use, but I'm going to say their main power is. And, most people are familiar, with Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, right? But there are 9 archangels. So there are other ones that can help you, during an investigation, for protection, to give you insight, to help you communicate better, different kinds of things. If I pull up to an investigation and I immediately feel a very dark heaviness at a property, I call in 4 archangels. I call in Uriel, Gabriel, Raphael, and Michael, to the cardinal points that they're associated with. And I have a special prayer of protection that I use to call them in to protect my team. So, we have our own little prayer that we use. But Doreen Virtue's Archangels 101 book really goes into detail about the archangels, and not just, surface stuff. I mean, really helps you tune in and get to know the archangels. And I encourage you to sit and meditate and really get to know the archangels, and have a relationship with them. And it doesn't matter what faith you are. I'm a practicing witch, and I work with archangels. And I have never, ever been let down by the archangels. So, angels are here for everyone. It doesn't matter. So, now, the next few books are going to be a little controversial, because it is so important for you, in my opinion, to know, number one, how to protect your house, how to protect you. I have brought stuff home. We've had to stop on the side of the road and let, spirits out on the side of the road because, we had this one particular female entity that developed a, fancy for my ghost hunting partner, Alex. And she got in the car and she wanted to come home with us. And we had to stop on the side of the interstate and let her out and make sure that she didn't go home with us. So you have to learn to protect yourself. Now, with that, there are a plethora. If you go through and you read these books, The Ghost Hunter Survival Guide and Hauntings, Possessions, and Exorcism, there are a lot of different types of entities that you can run into. And they're not just ghosts. You can run into elementals, you can run into demons, you can run into a whole bunch of different things. Now, if you've ever listened to me on Paranormal Friday Night with Uber Goober Lady, if you haven't, checked her channel out, I'll link it in the description box. I always tell people about stones, herbs, and things to do to protect their home, okay? Now, one of these 4 books are books that I use as a witch, but they don't just apply to witchcraft. These will help protect you, protect your home, protect your kids, protect your pets, the whole 9 yards, protect your team. The very first one, and you're going to laugh because I have so many pages marked here, is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. And this is by Scott Cunningham. He is a very, very, very well-known pagan author of Wicca. And what this goes through just about every herb, wood, and resin that you can think of. And it gives you the folk name, the ruling planet, the ruling element, the powers that it possesses, and then the magical uses for it. So you can, and it gives you like the botanical name for it and everything, and folk names of herbs. So when you look through here, you can look up herbs, and I have I call them my 13 power herbs. And those herbs are ones that have multiple uses. And you've probably heard me recommend, like sage, rosemary, and lavender numerous times. You've heard me recommend sea salt numerous times. And those four are in my power 13 because they have so many uses, not only for magical uses, but for healing also. Another book, and actually there are 2 of them. This first one is like my holy grail. However, it is out of print. You can still get it on Amazon, but you're going to pay a pretty penny for it. And it is Holland's Grimoire of Magical Correspondences. And you go through here, this is listed by subject. So let's say you want to banish something. You look under banish, and it'll say negative energy. It'll give you stones, it'll give you herbs, it'll give you gods, goddesses, it'll give you a day of the week, it'll give you, blah, 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 blah. But that will tell you what herbs, what stones you can recommend to people, and everything like that. So this was like one of the first books that I bought in my studies. I mean, the minute that it was published, I picked it up. And it is so good. And the last time that I looked on Amazon, I think it was almost $50 for a used copy of one. So, they're not that easy to come by, but you can get them. And even at $50, I think it's worth every penny. The other one, this one is not as expensive, and it is Llewellyn's Complete Book of Correspondences. And it looks like this. And again, it's broken down by like subject, and then it also has herbs in here. So you can look up, like mistletoe and see what mistletoe does. It also has stones and crystals. It has woods. It has gods and goddesses. It's got days of the week. It's got everything. It's got sigils. It's got runes. It's got chakras. It's got numbers. It's got tarot cards and what they mean. It literally has just about every magical correspondence that you can think of. And it is so good because it can give you options. And you can look in here, and if you've got your Power 13 herbs, and I also have my Power 13 stones. And this is Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Crystal, Gem, and Metal Magic. This is an absolute essential, and this is exactly what it is. It goes through stones and crystals and metals, and it tells you what the magical correspondence is for it. And so, you always hear me say you can wear jewelry made of this. You can bury stones that are this at the corners of your house or at the corners of your property, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess where I get this from? It's from here. It's from these correspondences books. And it's from my experience as an investigator of what are the most effective ones that I've used throughout, over 10 years of experience. Now, the books that are not for the beginners, these are the basic books that I recommend for everyone. Now, the books that I recommend, if you really are getting into some serious stuff, and then there are even more advanced books, and I'll address them in another video. But the very first one is Psychic Development for Beginners, and it is by William Hewitt. This gives you a wonderful guide on how to really develop and tune into your innate psychic ability. Everybody has psychic ability and intuition. You just have to learn to switch it on and embrace it. You can't be, afraid of it. And especially people, if you are a sensitive, if you are an empath, this will help you a lot in embracing, developing, and honing, because the better that you get at controlling the flow and controlling the information and controlling what's going on around you, controlling your environment, and letting, spirit know exactly when it's okay to talk to you and when it's not, learning how to shield yourself, learning working with your guides, the whole 9 yards. This will start you on your way, okay? And it's absolutely necessary to learn those things when you're starting to develop your psychic abilities, okay? Now, another one, if you are really getting into different things and you want to know all different kinds of entities other than just ghosties, there's a book called Defense Against, daggone, I can't get this right, Defense Against the Dark, and it's by Emily Carlin. And a lot of these, you're going to go, what? This woman's out of your ever-loving mind. But she's not. It ranks in here the threat level of the different types of entities. She also gives you suggestions how you can get rid of them. She gives you protective measures. She gives you all kinds of different information about these entities, especially, you know, things that most paranormal investigators may not be aware of, but witches are, like elementals, like vampires. Yeah, there are vampires. And our friend Michelle Belanger is one. She is an energy vampire. She feeds off other people's energy. That's her thing. So there are such a thing. And you can, you know, I've referred to like psychic vampires. It's a thing. So, and there are even sanguine or blood vampires. So, not in the traditional Hollywood sense, but, you know, she goes into this in the book. And it gives you a really good foundation on how to deal with different things and how to recognize different things, like the difference between shadow people and a ghost and a demon. So, you know, that's an excellent book. Now, if you're going to start trying to help spirits cross to the other side, there is a book by Diana Palm called Setting Spirits Free. And this is an excellent little book. It is another one that explains exactly the different kinds of souls that may get stuck and different ways that can be used to help them cross over or to help their guides come and get them and take them, okay? Because some spirits don't want to go because they fear judgment on the other side. So now we're getting into some pretty serious stuff here. I do not recommend these books for the beginner. These are very advanced things. They are not for the faint of heart, and you should not delve into this as a beginner, period, end of statement. And I actually showed this one particular book on Uber Goober Ladies channel on a Paranormal Friday night. This book is by Michelle Belanger, and it's The Names of the Damned, and it's the Dictionary of Demons. Right here. No, the other way. I would think I would get a hold of get this. This is literally a compendium of demons, fallen angels, and infernal spirits. And it goes into the origins of that entity by the name, the typical things associated. Because once you know a demon's name, you have a little bit of power over it. And it can help a person who is a properly trained exorcist command that entity to leave, and to leave a person that's possessed. Okay, but I do not recommend that. I mean, I have, like, after I use this book, I do like a little binding ritual on it every time after I open it up and use it, and then I bind it and put it back. So I do not always, I don't recommend this book for just everyday run-of-the-mill curiosity. Nor do I recommend this one. This is an exorcist field guide to blessings, consecration, and the eradication of malevolent entities by Pastor Swope. And it's right here. So it gives you different prayers in English and in Latin. I do not recommend anyone who has not been trained as an exorcist to do anything. Clearing a house of an entity is in essence, and doing a blessing is in essence a minor rite of exorcism in the Catholic Church. Okay? And you need to understand the seriousness of it. However, from a knowledge standpoint, we have, my ghost hunting partner is an ordained minister. And when we have been doing an investigation and run up on something, we have used prayers very similar to the ones that are in that book for protection, because team members were literally under attack. So with that, guys, those are the books that I recommend repeatedly to people. Like I said, the ones that are very advanced, please do not buy them as a novice, someone starting out, or just for curiosity's sake, because you're going to get yourself into trouble. And that's the last thing that I want you to do. And I know that there will probably be somebody that's going to go ahead and buy them anyway, but please be very careful. Any book that you buy concerning, demons and dark spirits and stuff like that, please take the time to consecrate them and do a prayer over them of protection and bind the information, in there. Do not ever, ever, ever say the name of a demon out loud, or, an infernal spirit out loud. Please don't. Please, 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 please don't. Don't say that. So with that, guys, you know what I want to say. Until the next time.